final rays of the sun were gently caressing the horizon when suddenly, with no warning, something magnificent and mysterious happened in the silent dwelling of Azuri. A portal appeared from the earth, growing through the trunk of one of the great trees. It was not one of the destructive portals of the Nether that struck fear in the hearts of so many. No, this portal was different. It cast a dark blue hue on its surroundings, and from within came forth strangers. Who were these mysterious individuals? Had they come from some other dimension that this world knew nothing of? And what was their purpose? No one yet would know. They left the portal and disappeared into the shadowed city. But the portal, it remained, silent and foreboding. And then one solitary robed figure stepped through. He looked around, uncertain and with seeming trepidation. It was as though he had been here before, yet had Azuri awakened, they would not have known him. He wandered through the lands as if he were in a dream, haunted by vague memories of bygone days. He eventually found himself on the shores of Selea, trapped in winter's embrace. He stumbled across the snow and ice towards a giant light in the sky, and found himself cast into the shadow of a lighthouse. A chill crept through him. Something was not right about this. This was not the Vasten he knew, but what could he do? Alarmed and alone, he turned away from the tower and bent down. He placed both hands on the stone bricks of the ground, and a hole opened before him. He lowered himself gently within and began to dig into the earth, down into a dark cave. Once removed from the light of the land, he would form an expanse into which he could erect a safe haven to hide him from this familiar, and yet so unfamiliar, frozen world. Hello there, everyone, and welcome back to my next episode on the Realm of Vasten. This is Mar. I am down in a hole, and it's quite a big, well, it's going to be quite a big hole. It was a abandoned mineshaft that I lit up and explored with Sai's help, and I have to dig this whole area out. Going to be one of those, just like Tango, it's going to be like a miniature dig my bits sort of a thing. I'm trying not to look over towards the right because that's going to be spoilers for Gray. This is where my project for him is taking place. You can see these pillars right here on my left. We're not going to look through there if I can avoid it. I need to dig from this point to my beacon and approximately the same distance to the other side of my beacon, and then it needs to be, I haven't really decided how wide it needs to be, but I need to dig that entire section out. As for height, I'm thinking probably maybe 10 blocks up at least, maybe 20. I'm not sure how much headspace we actually have to work with, but some amount of space up, and then quite a ways down as well. We're not going to go completely to bedrock with this part, because I still need to go to bedrock or close to bedrock for another part of this surprise prank thing. But for this chamber, it just needs to be probably about, oh, I don't know, 30 blocks in height in all, 30, maybe 40, I'm not really sure. So this is going to be a lot of digging, and I would ask Gray to, you know, help out, but since it's for him, I don't want him to see it until it's all done, obviously. So I'm going to be doing most of this digging, probably all this digging on my own. It's going to take a while. It's going to take quite a while. I don't really want to say too much about what it is, what it's for, or anything like that. Not just yet anyway, because Gray watches some of my episodes and I don't want him to get spoilers before I'm ready for him. I'm hoping that I'll be able to, that he'll record when he actually comes in here so that I'll be able to see his, you know, first reaction, basically. And if he helps build it, then that's not going to be much of a reaction, right? So I've got a lot of digging to do, and I also have the project for the storage system in Port Breigh, which we're going to switch over to here very shortly. We haven't had an opportunity to make a whole lot of progress over there. Gray and I and Sai, we've talked a lot on Discord, but we haven't actually come up with a final design for the storage. We haven't really even finalized the design, like cosmetically, I guess, like what it's gonna look like when it's finished, not just how it works. So we still have to do some of that decision work. I do have, of course, the front entrance that I can work on, and that's what we're going to be working on today. So I'm probably going to do a little bit of digging here, and then we're going to switch over to the gate and see what we can do to spruce it up a bit. I remember in the last episode I mentioned that on Vasten Dimensions we had a plug-in of some sort that allowed us to have the fancy doorway that moves on its own, like what we had over in the Nether project. We don't have this on here. I guess that requires Spigot. This is a purely vanilla server, not Spigot or anything like that. So we don't have that available here, which means we're just gonna have to go with the, you know, good old-fashioned open door that stays right where it is built, I guess. But that's okay, you know, that's fine. I assumed that was going to be the case anyway. So we're just gonna have to make sure to have the design look extra good. So I'm gonna do some digging, and then I will transition over to the gateway, and we can work there a little bit. But I'm going to get a little bit of digging done here, and I'll bring you back to show you what it all looks like when it's all good to go, I guess. Or, well, I'm not going to dig the whole thing, but, you know, I'll make some progress. I'll bring you back and show you how far I got, and then we'll switch over. So I'll see you then. And welcome back, everybody. I have done quite a bit of digging here. I've used up almost the entire durability of my pickaxe, as well as part of the durability of my fortune pickaxe. I've gone up pretty much as far as I can reach from this height. I'm at Y level 42. I'm kind of using this right here. It's perfectly centered on my beacon and the actual thing down there that we conveniently are out of distance to actually see any details for. But it's perfectly centered, so I just went, not counting this 3 wide path here, I went 13 blocks that way, 13 blocks that way. It's kind of an arbitrary number. I'm really just going based on how it feels. Like, does this feel like it's going to give me enough space to do what I want to do? And then I dug all the way up. Now I did all, like, this quarter, like if you cut it into fourths, centered around our beacon, we've got this quarter, that corner, and this corner. And each quarter is going to go that high. Obviously, I haven't done that everywhere. Mostly just this side and most of that side. It's going to go all the way up there, as well as, I don't know how far I can even reach down here, but because I don't want to have to do too much digging, you know. I'm not that wild about digging, but maybe like another 10 blocks that way. Or maybe I'll just, like, stand at this level here, point my nose down, and be like, that seems good. Actually, that doesn't, but oh well. I'll figure out exactly how deep I want it to be later. But anyway, it gives you a kind of good idea of what kind of space we're going to be working with here. It's going to be a pretty large, long more than it is wide, but a pretty large room here. With hopefully good height, as well as good down there. There's going to be some form of a path coming from there, going part way forward, and then we're going to have a structure here, and then there's just going to be basically nothing on the sides. I just wanted to have like a chasm sort of a feeling. That's kind of what I'm going for. And then inside the structure here, there's going to be another path that goes even further down. So the idea is that you start off at the surface, and the further you go, the lower you get in the world. So yeah, that's pretty much the plan. I had my chests around the beacon here. I ended up moving them down here instead. So we've got stone in these ones, another chest, because, I mean, my stones are already almost 2 full double chests. I've got my stone bricky stuff here, which of course I'll be able to craft heaps more with this in order. I don't know if I'm going to use stone to build the structure here, but even if I don't, I will be using it underground, I think. This is just general rubbish that I come along, you know, whether, you know, I've got my ores in here from whether I was, you know, doing it with the silk touch versus the fortune. You know, dirt, we've got, you know, just general stuff. And then over here, we've got cobblestone and another double chest ready for when this one fills up. And then I've got gravel, andesite, diorite, and granite. So just a good, this is just my, when I, like, on the Wellside server, down in my beacon mine, I pretty much just have double chests like this, full of each, you know, full of the different resources that you get so much of, and then, you know, general chests, because, you know, I'm doing my best to light things up in here, but inevitably I'm probably going to be getting a couple spawns here and there as I work, and they're going to drop their zombie flesh and their bones and all that other boring stuff, and I'm a hoarder, I can't just throw that stuff away, so in it goes. In it goes. I am getting a little bit, I'm pretty sure the mine shaft here has been thoroughly explored. I'm pretty sure we got all the chests and all the goodies. There are, of course, still these rails lying around, as well as the wood here, which is kind of convenient because I've been using the wood that I get from this to make more chests for storage. I'm thinking I may want to get a shears though. So far I've just been using my sword to get this for string, but I might want some cobwebs, so I may need to get some shears and use shears on the rest of them, just for like decoration and whatnot. But yeah, so that's the progress we've made here. And now let's switch over. I'm gonna have to go and repair my pick. It's pretty low on the durability. I don't want to forget about it and then accidentally break it. I do not have any backup gear on the server, at least not yet. So I want to be pretty careful about that. So I'm going to go repair it at the Enderman farm, and then I will meet you over in Port Breigh. And welcome back, everybody. I am here at Port Breigh at the entrance. I've actually been here for about a half hour, I would guess, working on this entranceway with Gray. I'm not 100% sure what we're going with here. We're just testing out different kinds of things, trying to find a design that looks good and works. Right now we've got the wooden beams for the doors. We put down a whole bunch of buttons and iron blocks at the base and the top, kind of to frame it, I guess. For the door frame itself, we're going with stone bricks just because they come in slabs and stairs and whatnot. If this was 1.14, it might be something more along the lines of andesite that we'd be using, because it's got that darker, I like the darker effect. We also have a little bit of cobble walls in there just to add variety. For the cliff face, we're going to have to do a lot of work, because this is very flat, very bland. Not a whole lot of separation. Like, from a distance, the stone bricks are kind of hard to see because they blend in so well. So we may end up having to frame it in some other block, like andesite, you know? I mean, I wish it could be the other way around. Stone framing andesite, but I mean, andesite framing stone would, I guess, probably work as well, but it would give a little bit more separation between the door frame and the cliff wall. Inside, there has been some massive digging going on. We used to have a lot of big hills in here. Pretty much everywhere where you see stone on the ground, there used to be some form of mountain or hill. This is a mountainous biome, so, you know, the kind of place where you would find emeralds. I mean, that'd be why these huge hills were here to begin with. And it looks like we've got 2 separate beacons set up. I don't know if we have any. I don't think there's any more over there. I think it's just this one and wherever that one is. I think that some of the the crew from Vasten Dimensions were also underneath branch mining, I think is what I heard. Anyway, we have like a temporary builder team over at Adjury, where we have brought in some people from Vasten Dimensions, some of the people I've played with over there, and they're giving Adjury a complete makeover, which I think is great because it was one of the more unfinished kingdoms in the world. We've got a couple different unfinished ones. Sandrasku could use a facelift. A couple others. I haven't been everywhere. I know there's a one boat in particular that I once took, and there was like literally nothing but a farmhouse. I'm like, well, why come here then, you know? So yeah, there's definitely places where it could use a significant overhaul, and that's what they're doing with Adjury right now. But I know that they came, I think they came over here to do resource gathering underground, I believe. But I believe most of the above ground mining was done by Sai. So all of this, I mean, it used to go from up there to like over there. So this is a pretty good sized chunk that he tore out, as well as these smaller mountains that were in these places. Now we are keeping the tree. I just came in here, you know, and I liked the tree. What was it, like 2 episodes ago or whatever? I just like this tree. I don't know why. It's a vanilla tree, but it was just like, I don't know, I was struck with inspiration. So I think there will be some sort of circular platform around it, and then maybe a dome or something. Obviously we're underground, so we can't really use like skylight type things. At least not real ones. I suppose we could try to simulate the effect of a skylight, but I don't know how well we would be able to pull that off. But first, I mean, since we don't really know where the storage is going to go or how much space it's going to take up or any of that stuff, we're kind of not thinking or like going to touch too much on the inside yet. Gray and I and Sai need to meet up and work on stuff. And there's Gray. There's Gray. He had popped off for a quick break, but now he's back. And he and I have been working on the Doorframe. I'm trying to give it some depth, you know. That's why I've got the cobble walls up there. You can see I've got cobble walls, and then there's stone bricks, and then kind of like a recess, there's another cobble wall. Whoop, and I fell. Oops. And yeah, we were in a voice call, but when he had to go AFK briefly. So let's see. Yep, just doing a spot of recording. So that's where we're kind of working at. That's kind of where we're at with this. Now underneath, we're gonna have to come up with some sort of support structure, because right now it's just slabs sticking off the side of a hill, and that looks silly. And we're gonna have the bridge there that meets over there, and we're gonna have like a pathway kind of that wraps around the side of the cliff here. Both of those are going to need support structures as well. I have a couple different support structure designs in mind. It's just going to be tricky, especially on this side. This one's going to be a straight path, but this one's just, you know, working with angles like that is always kind of interesting when you have a pattern and you're trying to find a way to make that pattern still look right. It's something I've been recently challenged with when I'm building my wall design over on the Wells Night server. But I'm sure we'll be able to come up with something that looks halfway decent anyway. We don't want to obstruct the river too much, or even the mouth of this, even though this currently isn't anything necessarily. I mean, it leads absolutely nowhere. It's completely man-made, but we still want to we still don't want to cover it up too much. So, you know, we got some work to do in that regard. But I just wanted to bring you I wanted to bring you back here so you could get a look at what we're working on with the entranceway there, and share what we're thinking of going with further. Now, I'm going to hop back in a call with Gray, and we're going to keep working, and I'll bring you back in a little bit when we have some more progress done. And welcome back, everybody. Gray had to leave, and we decided to tear down the frame that we were working on before. We just weren't really liking it. The shape wasn't really working for us. So we've decided to go with something like this instead. The glass gives a bit more separation between the grayness of the mountain and the grayness of the door frame itself. It was just too much gray. We both agreed that either we would have to change the mountain and then it would look weird because this part would be the only part that was changed, or we would have to change the design of the door frame. So we decided to go with glass instead. It provides color variation, the separation and everything, and also lets us do something a little bit more interesting with the design here. Now the idea is to put glass panes down, and then behind the panes, because otherwise you'd be able to see straight through, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but behind the panes we were going to put lava. Just like combination of lighting and just aesthetics in general. So we do something like this, and then like that, and then like this, and then I know he said he put some lava buckets in one of these chests, I think. I know he said he put them somewhere. That's all stone. Sorry, I had a frog in my throat. It's all stone. Aha! Wow, okay, that's a lot of lava. Let's just grab a couple. Now, I want to build it up to the top, though. I probably should have thought of that first. Do I not have something to pillar up with? This'll work. Let's just pillar up here. And actually, let's stand on this block. That way we can hopefully reach both sides without too much difficulty. And like this. It's gonna be so hard to hit those little, the very few pixels on the top of a glass pane. So let's go up a little more and cheat a little bit by going up the side of the stone bricks. I can't really do that for that side, but maybe if we go up and then just drop back down. There we go. That should do it. I don't want to waste any more lava. Like, I don't want to use too much lava if I don't have to, you know? Cause it's gonna flow down, and it doesn't all have to be lava sources. So I could put a lava here and a lava here, but I believe we're gonna need to bring this up a little bit. So let me think about this. What were we going with? That cobble wall needs to go. So let's see. 2 up from every one of these. So we'd have 2 there, 2 there, 2 here, 2 here, 2 there, and 2 there. Now to connect, we would at least need those. And those. And those. And those. Now, the question is, do we bring these up even further? And then there'd be glass here and here to keep the lava in, and then inside of here as well. This green glass is coming down. This is just, it was the color I had at the moment, so I was using it to test with. So realistically, this will connect like that. Do I want to do this as well? I feel like I kind of do. So I would want to do that on all the sides then. That's got an iron block there, that's fine. Yeah, that looks good. Very nicely encased. The only question I would have is whether to bring this out to here or not. I really don't know. Kind of leaning towards no. And then we would have either full blocks or, I don't know, maybe like upside down stairs or something on top in these positions. And I really do think that this needs to come up more. I definitely want that up a little bit more. Okay, let's just do this. There we go. Bring these up. Like this, I guess? Maybe? This is the frame or the shape it would have going up. I guess since we went through the hassle of making that, we might as well get rid of these. Lost that one. Oh well, it's fine. And then that. And that. Okay. These can come up. And then we would put in a lava bucket here. And lava bucket here. And then we would put a lava bucket here. Ow, 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 ow. And it won't flow further than that. And then here. And then, well, it would go here, but I don't, well, I guess I could change it out right now. That's not a big deal, I suppose. I'm sure we can use this green glass somewhere. So I'm not gonna, I'm gonna try and, you know, keep it all, but so let's do that. And then that. And it can't come through the diagonals, just because of the way it works. At least for now, glass panes can't be... Well, they can't even... I don't even think they can be waterlogged, but you can't log anything with lava. So that flows down there. Of course, we're going to put like more stone bricks on top, covering it up so it's not just exposed. Then the design that we end up with down here, or the effect that we end up down here, is something along that line. And the lava can't come through, so you could still look up and be able to see it. Just like this. So I'm not convinced that these upper stone bricks right here on top of the panes, I don't know, not particularly wild about that necessarily. I might change that so that they're in line with this. I was doing it to keep the lava from flowing in, but I suppose I can change the formation of the lava entirely so that isn't necessary. But that's basically the effect it would have. And it does periodically, I have noticed, it will drip, which kind of gives it a cool effect. So when you're walking, like when this is all over there, every second, I would expect almost every second, at least one of these should be dripping, right? I mean, come on. With 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 possible spots, I feel like at least one of them should be dripping. Almost every second anyway. So, and I think that'll kind of give it a cool effect to walk through there. Now, we were talking about this, and we were talking about the lava, and we were looking at the various glass options that we had. Green and blue, of course, are available to us. Most of the glass textures have like other designs. So we got lime green we could use. Black, even though you can't really see it here, there is an actual pattern on the glass right there. White has those lines on it. Blue is perfectly vanilla-ish. I mean, it doesn't have the lines in it, like the vanilla lines, but gray we could use. Light blue has a design. Yellow has a design. Purple has a design. Pink. Red. Oh no, that's brown. We could use brown, I think. It's hard to tell kind of some of these, but I don't think that has a pattern. I think there were only 5 of these that did not have a pattern. So magenta, I guess brown, blue, lime green, and gray. I think those were the only 5 that did not have a pattern, because everything else has some sort of pattern on it. And we didn't want to use a pattern. We just wanted plain glass in here. So we were looking at the options, and we were like, well, if we go with blue here and we have lava behind it, what if we have water in other areas? And we were like, well, we could have red or like orange or yellow, but unfortunately all those have patterns. The only closest one that doesn't have a pattern is magenta, where we would have flowing water and then magenta glass around it. I don't know if it'll have quite the same effect as lava flowing behind blue glass. But it's definitely an option that we can look at further in. But out here, I think it looks pretty neat, with the texture of the flowing lava, and then the glass to hold it in and everything. So I think I like that. So we just need to do that pretty much all the way around. I did make a bunch of blue glass right here. We're going to need so much glass. So we're thinking in here, we're going to have the storage, of course, but we also want to build a super smelter, and we are heavily leaning towards Tango's super smelter that he recently built in his Hermitcraft series, which I think is like 200 furnaces. So we've got a whole bunch here. I think this is slightly over 200. I think that's what Gray said, but approximately 200 furnaces there, and we're going to build that somewhere. I don't know all the furnace locations in the game world in Vasten right now. I think the biggest so far is a 20 furnace, and there's just sometimes when you need a vast number of blocks. Like Fix is working on one of his big digs over in Celea, and not only is he digging out a massive amount of stone and whatnot, but then he's layering the bottom with jack-o'-lanterns. And I think I may have shown this before, but oops, what did I do? There we go. Jack-o'-lanterns are my second most crafted and placed blocks. Or at least crafted, I don't know. Yep, placed times used, yep. Because I've been helping him out a lot with that as well. But even once he has that layer of jack-o'-lanterns along the bottom of his cavern or ravine or whatever he's building, he's gonna put a whole bunch of colored glass in there to kind of give it like the smoky effect, which is something that I've used as well. I have it used, I alternated gray with green, again trying to avoid the patterned ones, glass in my surprise secret place that we're not going to talk about. That's for gray. And also, if you watch my Wells Nice series, you'll know that I use that as well for the ground in my Great Hall. So that's what he's going for. Think about how much glass this is going to be. The cavern is ginormous. You know, we could actually even go take a look at it right now. Let me finish working on this. I'll bring you back when I finish swapping out the glass and whatnot. And then if we still have time, we'll take a pop over there and I can show you just how big that dig is. So let me get at this. Alrighty guys, welcome back. I have finished touching up the rest of the lava, glass, and all of that stuff, and this is what it looks like. Obviously we still have to work out the outer part here. But I think I like this design more than I did the other one. I think the added, the bluish tint from the glass, as well as the animated and red appearance of the lava, as well as the light it is going to provide at nighttime, I think that's going to give it a pretty decent effect. And I like it. I like it a lot. I'm curious to see what else we'll end up doing with lava and also water, like I mentioned. But for now, I think this is a pretty good start on the entrance. Definitely more than we had last time, so that's good. Now let's take a quick pop over to Celea. We're running out of time, but I still want to show you over in Celea the big dig. So let me put away this stuff and I'll head over there. Alrighty, so I'm up here on the surface. Chunks are still loading in, so I hope that's what that means, is that there's just chunks that are not there yet and not floating blocks in the sky. That is definitely chunks that haven't loaded. That's Fix's island, which is hands down better than the little island I made on Vasten Dimensions. It looks really great. That is Joel's tree he's working on. That's the church. The yurt is on the other side of the church. Of course, my tower is out of sight over there. Over there is where we did a pumpkin farm. But if we come inside here, there's a little bitty staircase, and it goes down for quite a ways. And I like doing that because it's fun. But this is the area that Fix has been working on. I think most of these, I mean, like 7,500 of these jack-o'-lanterns I placed. And then this is going to be like a bridge running through the middle. But there's going to be glass all the way. And these chunks have not... Come on, chunks, really? I'm trying to show this place off. You're making this a little difficult. There we go. So it keeps going over there. It kind of curves around. And it does the same thing on this side as well. It starts all the way over there, follows along here, curves around with the platform running in the middle. That's a lot of jack-o'-lanterns. That's going to be a lot of glass, too. And I think we're going to need a couple different layers of glass in order to give it enough of a foggy effect. That's going to be so much glass. It's kind of hurting me just to think about it. So if we had a super smelter, that'd be so much easier. I mean, even if the placing alone is going to be a nightmare, but having to twiddle your thumbs and wait for that much glass to smelt up, yeah, no thanks. Not sounding like a vacation to me. So that's one reason why a super smelter, and a massive super smelter at that, is definitely going to come in handy. But that's not a thing for today. For today, we've accomplished some minor work on the entrance. We've gotten some digging done at our super secret place that we're not going to talk about because Gray might be watching this. But you know, progress is still progress, right? So I hope you've enjoyed the episode. I hope you keep coming back for more. But until next time, I hope you have a fantastic time, and I'll see you later. Bye!